Bone is the hoof, and she likes to cut. Bone is the coat, and she likes to cut. Bone is the coat, and she likes to cut. And a bone with the coat, and she likes to cut. Bone in the coat, and she just like to cut. All in the coat, and she just like to cut. Bone in the coat, and she just like to cut. Oh, well, see the coat, cause she sees it in her gut. Ace of G. Right. We should be fully back now. Meow. Meow. Wow. Ow, hit me in the face. I will turn you into a sheep, goddammit. Didn't I just break you? Apparently there's still some in the corner. And from nearly being dead to being revived. Reminder that I have to go buy that gun. Or excuse me, that armor. Sheepinator's getting a workout. For the Black Sheepinator. What did they mean by this? Why did we make them black sheep? Why are they explosive? certainly, they must have meant something racist about this. Something derogatory against the French and the Black French. I'm on to you, Insomniac. Clearly, you did all this extra trouble to change the type of games you made because you secretly hated the black people and the Creole. Alright. God damn, I hate quadratic fractions. We're finna hear this sound a lot. Each protopet is spawning like 3 protopets when they split them back up, meaning that they are quadratically expanding at a rate which is hard to keep up with. But because they create so many copies, there are that many more explosions happening to the point that it's actually lagging the rendering system, as it would lag a normal virtual machine. They are multiplying faster than I can kill them, but then the explosion catches up to their death ratio, so it becomes a math equation of how many explosions can I produce to clear the room without spending a single bullet. I always hated those types of science experiments. Mainly because I don't like doing math. I leveled up again? Okay, honestly, just a money printing machine. I appreciate how that one was standing on top of the sheep as it was just continuously printing copies while not exploding. Why would you use this texture for magnetic track points, but not make those magnetic track points standable? There are faces in the cereal! This is like worthy of being a shitpost. Itchy. Yes. When I said that I was going to end the thing, what I said I was going to do is that I was covering the news first, then with the time remaining before 5 p.m., I was going to use that time to finish playing Ratchet & Clank 2 today. Which is why this stream's title has Part 4/finale. So that when I come back after 5 o'clock, I can continue working either on Expedition 33, or I can continue forward with Ratchet & Clank 3. Man, I miss Clark. I wonder what he's up to. I don't. But we all know where Quark is. We all know where he is. Let me just buy back my mini tube real quick with the power of my fucking penis, mind you. Certainly at some point I'll get level up in mini turret glove. Certainly that fish must have something about it. No? Is it destructible? I had a feeling. Wow, they've spread down here. My instincts reward me once again. Wonder what they're doing up there. Oh, that's fun. And here's a giant-ass mural of Jak and Daxter. Specifically from Jak 2. With no context. Implying that they exist in this universe. Almost. Well, I'm out of ammunition for it. Decent. That or Jack and Daxter live in a separate... They live in a galaxy separate from the Solana and Boggin galaxies, true. That works for reasons that are extremely funny. And returning back as a puzzle, for one time only, the Terminator. Probably the most underused gadget in all of Ratchet and Clank 2.
You're getting sleepy. Very sleepy.
You are getting very sleepy.
Ah, a customer. You, sir, look like someone who could use a hypnomatic.
Okay.
Just bring us the parts, and we'll make it for free.
Ah, for a fee. Very small fee.
In this situation, I don't know if this is supposed to be a case example of a man that has split personality, or if there is an actual alien parasite entity attached to his arm. But this is probably one of the more funny and funnier designed characters that I remember. And I could never understand why. There's another Commando there. Sent me the long way around. This is the... Actually, I don't know what section this is. Explore the main section. An Iron Midget joke would go hard, but I don't think it's timely. Anyways, destroy the mothership. Ow. Ow. Now see, after the last giant Clank section, this is one where it immediately has a giant difficulty scale. And the difficulty slider is so far. So far higher.
I want to know why they do so much goddamn damage. Well, goddamn. Let me fucking attack you. Look at all those power-ups I can't grab. This particular version of this fight is extremely poorly designed. Is it over? Can it be over now? Now it's over. That was probably a part of the hypnotizer.
The mapper
No,
reveals
mapper.
secret areas on your world map. The secret areas are marked as green.
Now back here. And let's put this there. And the grind rail. Matt. Matt. I'm so hard pressed to question how the prototype got into the rails. That there just hasn't been any real ground rail sections that are worth writing home about in this game like there was for the Gadgetron rails inside of Ratchet & Clank 1. I guess this is their attempt to try and make something that's similar to it. I didn't see the hole. It just doesn't feel the same. And yes, all of that for a secret auto map. I mean, I don't mind it. Originally, getting the auto map was just riding the rails in the Gadgetron and taking the alternate path. I can see the hole this time. In this game, because I can actually move the camera, I can probably see ahead of myself. But I can clearly tell that with this grind rail section, they were trying to get back to the glory of what they had in the last game, when they used the grind boots as a method to get people invested with exploration. It's just not the same. Also, skill point. What I get that skill point for? Ratchet has a big head. Whatever. Nice ride. Heal your chi, find the crystals. Go grinding and don't get hurt. Nothing to see here. And destroy the big floating globe. And Clink needs to do better boots. Why not? And a quick reference to, and a quick reference.
Part. You need all of the parts to make the hypnomatic gadget.
When I first saw that cutscene, I laughed. Do we buy? I don't think we buy. What am I doing now? I'm going to the next planet because I don't have all the hypnotic parts. That's what I'm doing. Is there any more things to buy? No. Where to? That's the thing about me. So that's not part of the level. That's whatever's on that wall.
You need the Hypnomatic here. Once you've found all of its parts, you'll have to go to...
They've actually put a lot less focus on Shodan, as I've noticed with this game.
Oh, man! It won't budge.
Violence is not the answer.
Can you move this rock, sir?
I am able.
And?
Patience, young one. For the rock to move, the forces of the universe must align.
So, can we make these forces align a little faster?
Ah, yes. The holistic resonance of moonstones may yet guide these wayward forces.
And then it's this section again. Except now these ones are thunder eggs. No, Mr. Yeti Man, I don't want the group gangbangs. And upgraded to the Microlove turret. Now it shoots rockets. And lasts slightly longer. And the big giant Leviathan ice sink that shoots fucking laser beams. As my camera wants to disobey me. Never did explain how many I needed. 9 for removal of the stone, and there are that many stones. And now the same question I asked myself, do I collect all of them? See, for a section like this, they designed this enemy to be something that you want to try in one tap and get away from as soon as you can. Because now I'm just cheering through shield charger ammunition. It'd be one thing if you could outrun the enemies, but you cannot outrun these enemies. Because you cannot outrun the enemies, and they do a lot of damage, and they have a lot of health, I'm more propense to just use the ammunition that I have to destroy the enemies that have crystals inside of them, and hope that the collateral explosion it's hitting the main body deals with them like ads. And already on the last shield charge. Well, that's all of them in the main zone. Truly, this is one where they just got it wrong. This is an enemy where they just 100% got it wrong. They're not even worth that much bolt.
Oh, yes. Your arrival with the Moonstones is most fortunate.
Getting funny is an insomniac word for the worst thing that's ever why they made it the way that they are.
To move the rock.
The name of them is a word that is an insomniac word for the worst enemy ever.
Gratitude is comforting, child. I have also found a piece of something called a hypnomatic. You may have it in exchange for more Moonstones.
Wait, I thought you had no need for material possessions.
Please, do not lay your burdens upon me now. I am weary from lifting the rock, and I must rest.
16 more Moonstones to the Hypnomatic. And right back up the ramp of shame to buy more fucking blocks. At the very least, now I can see which ones are missing. I couldn't do that at the last planet because I didn't have the mapper yet. Well, the real question is, how the fuck do I get up there? I died. Ah, I see. You're missing a word. Voice detect, in fact, can suck. I'd say that's meme-worthy. That a developer realized, yeah, we fucked up really bad making this enemy. We'll make a statue to our failure. I think that's funny. However, Drek ship's back. And by Drek ship, I mean they have not made better transitions other than teleport to zone in level. Whee! Ah, falling objects. So where's the nanotech? Certainly you're going to be cheeky and you're going to put a nanotech in the flying section, right? That was lag. I mean, I see all things as XP, but it doesn't undo the fact that they are unnecessarily quick, damaging, and tanky. They disrespect the balance triangle. And even if they didn't disrespect the balance triangle, they're fucking hard. Getting attacked by 1 to 3 of them at a time? Easy. Simple. Fair, even. That's more than 5. That's probably more than 9 at a single instance if I really grouped them up. That wasn't on the game. That was on me being shit. When you have that many enemies, it's like anytime you get ambushed. If you get ambushed by 5 enemies, they might be of varying levels of difficulty. But they shouldn't be, say, the challenge rating of a Tarask, or a Hydra, or a Gorgon. Because 5 enemies that on their own with just their natural weapons, I flipped it, with just their natural weapons, naturally killing you is a problem. But then they have a special ability, like turning you to stone, like a cockatrice, or a basilisk, inside of a pit of basilisks, that as a consequence of failing a section, you got dropped into, and you gotta think fast in order to survive. but you get ambushed by an enemy, and the enemy just ends up ambushing you and killing you because there's 15 of them, and there's one of you. He randomly caught you unawares, and you're not able to protect and defend yourself. I guess there was no upgrade on that section, which I guess is okay, because I'd probably scream and tear my hair out if there was. The expectation of going into that same instance and getting that same interaction, like, if there's one of you, you're strong and dangerous, and I probably have to avoid you. If there's multiple of you, but it's easier to kill you, you're probably some type of warning system, and I have to avoid you so I can survive. If you're really fast and deal a lot of damage, you have low HP, which means I can pick you off quickly. Like, that's just disrespectful. So back on that shit with being respectful with my time. If they're in my ass killing me like that, no pause, no lube, just full butt cheeks. It's the Piper Perry fucking meme 2007 times over. That's not fun. Ooh, now we're talking about 4,000 in a single pop. Ow. I guess I can just farm these guys for XP. Only because it's right there. Otherwise, I'd not bother doing it. I now have the HK-22. Oh, that's much better. And we return to the surface. And another vendor. Is it the same vendor? No. But it's a different place we can get from. 1,000 million volts, actually. Carbonox! This is earlier than you normally stream gaming content. Are you streaming now so you stream longer or so you can chill tonight? Repeating what I said earlier at the beginning of the broadcast, I finished the news so that I can finish Ratchet & Clank, so that I can then have the free time to continue with Expedition 33 or begin working on Ratchet & Clank 3. I have 2 games, that, well, technically one that's prepaid for, and then I intend on playing the other, in front of me, that are being played for both my enjoyment, monetary enjoyment, and monetary gain, because Alex paid for it. How am I liking them? Blast from the past! Something that I would already do for fun, I get to monetize. And people who have never experienced it get to see them on screen. Importantly, what does that Carbonox thing say? Using a combination of new metal alloys and nanotechnology, this armor can repulse up to 90% of all damage done to it. I wonder if I can jump directly to the armor. Who knows? So more than likely, I'm going to try to stream long for whatever I choose to do tonight. But I don't know yet. Suffering from success, truly. Got it. Now we can get up. So now we can sell to the vendor faster. More importantly, what is the secret? I cannot tell for the life of me what that secret zone is supposed to be. That's obviously the vendor. And this is the side room from the mine shaft. Certainly I'll figure that one out. Camera's doing fucky-wucky things again. It won't let me look straight up at this enemy so I can engage the lock-on. And wow, that took an expensive amount of fucking missiles. Certainly, it shouldn't really be that difficult to bolt grind, because since this one has the bolt multiplier, it actually simplifies the speed at which you can get them, but that means putting myself in challenge mode to activate it. Instantly caught that shit. In this situation, this is one of the few moments where I'd have to say it's bouncer or nothing. Where this probably plays the least like Ratchet & Clank should ever feel. Ah! Fuck me! Yes, it does. Why are there so goddamn many? It's still back there. It's twinkling towards me. I can still see it in the distance twinkling towards me.
Hello? We've got more moonstones.
No, you have not.
What?
Existence is a lie. Sensations are illusions. Possessions are merely visions.
All right, I've got an illusion of some moonstones. I'll trade it for a vision of that hypnomatic part.
You have learned much, young one. Now bring me more moonstones, and riches shall be your reward.
And then we get to trade for bolts. And now comes the question, what the fuck is this section? Do. And back to Damsel. Smartest man in the galaxy, the hippie capitalist. True. Deep, thought-provoking, and they don't want you to know about it. Whoop. That doesn't seem right. There are 2 bolts on this plenty. I wonder where that other one is. I doubt it's on the moon. Pneumatic for the platinum bolt.
Use it wisely.
And then that answers that question.
Think about it.
To use the Hypnomatic, target a receiver bot and press circle to take control of the robot.
I died. Robot solidarity, brother. Return to ship. But I want to return to ship. I guess I have to, question mark? Now, when you say big Megacorp sign, do you mean big Megacorp sign or big Megacorp statue in the middle of the plaza? Also, I wanted to figure that out myself. Oh well. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was halfway there deciding it. I'm pretty sure when I passed through that section, I asked myself, I wonder what's at the top of that sign, because it was really big and really tall and really large. Like there was something hiding there. Now we're halfway to a Twitch stream. Now all we need is somebody being incendiary on camera and a song piker stepping off a camera. And then I leveled up and everything exploded at the end. And this goes to the downtown bank. And then I need more ammunition. I leave you all to your fates. And now I figure out how to get up there. Yeah, it's smoking. Where is it? Anqua. Whoop. I walked out without my protection on and I got bit by a bug. Why is the robot flying on top of my position? That doesn't make sense. On Qua. Now see, that right there. So let's talk about area architecture. This is a not obvious fracture of the wall. With the exception of the seam, there is no way for you to be able to tell that this was where it needed to be exploded. I would have thought that it was a killed the robots puzzle. Not very well designed. Because I don't want to start in the halfway section of that part. It's faster to reload. But yeah, level design, secrets, secret farming, and hiding secrets inside of destroyable walls. You need a texture that demonstrates that there is a secret there. We no longer live in the time period of the Nintendo. We have the ability to show wall textures as breakable.
This receiver bot has a blaster attack. Press circle to shoot enemies. To exit the robot, press... This receiver bot has a blaster attack. Press circle to shoot enemies. To exit the robot, press triangle.
Problem with that is that it's not a blaster attack, it's the receiver signal. Oh, I would have been so pissed. I do appreciate them being smart to know that you shouldn't punish the player for getting hit and instead made it loss of time. I mean, for a puzzle that has a section for a pool that is built up for the ending of the game, it's better than making you have to collect every single collectible in the game to see the ending of the game. Isn't that right? Assassin's Creed 2. So, in this section, the part that the bot was on got flooded. Then we swim through it, and we look around, and there's a giant-ass pipe. This is good level architecture. They're very hit and miss with some of the locations of these bolts. And I'm gonna go out my way and flat out say, making me fly through the hoops perfectly for platinum bolts in each of the in each of the pilot sections is fucking stupid. With bad controls like this, you cannot make people have to do that. So now I'd be standing on top? No. And just like on the other planet, they've got a ship here for Raritanium. But it fucking sucks.
Hey, nice digs.
Yeah. It's a little remnant from my previous life.
You were reincarnated?
No. My Megacorp days. They've got a very generous bonus package.
Right. So now that you've got your ID badge, how do we take out the protopet?
Watch this.
Mommy, where do protopets come from?
Why, they come from Megacorp, dear.
That's right, Mrs. Robot. All of the protopets in the galaxy come from right here, in our factory. Your little friend is lovingly extracted from the original protopet. Each protopet is given a name and birth certificate that is unique. Our training system helps mold your pet into a wonderful friend that you'll cherish forever. So the next time your child asks,
Mommy, where do protopets come from?
you can answer with confidence. They come from Megacorp.
That factory is using the original protopet to produce all the others.
Exactly. If we can take out the original protopet, that'll shut him down permanently.
20% off a complete service at Groovy Lube?
Oops. Wrong one. This will deactivate the door to the protopet duplication area. I'll meet you there.
Sure you want to split up?
No, Megacorp's orbital defenses are nasty. With 2 ships, there's a good chance at least one of us will get through.
Good thinking. Just be careful.
Right.
The implication of there being cans inside this room implies that she's a failed daughter. One of us. One of us. One of us. One of us. I still don't understand what that secret area is supposed to be. One of us. One of us. One of us. And the fact that there are enemies. And the fact that you want people to go looking for Raritania on this. Which implies standing still to be hit. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know a single person who would do that. Now, you. You did it. What did you do? Aha. Well, here's the question. Did you do it because you were bored, or did you do it because you had an extreme interest in finding everything? Got all the moonstones and crystals in those sections. Well, my question remains. Did you do it because you were bored and you wanted to? Or did you just run out of things to do? Well, fortunately, that is good. But I am not the same. These motherfuckers gonna mob me and shit. Hello? Get on the button! Am I missing something? Question mark? Yes, I am. Wonk. And the rewards for the platinum bolts was the same as the first game. It was bolts plus platinum bolts to pay for platinum version of the guns, right? And now the final planet. And as I wait for somebody to react to that question, I would have to say, after a full game expanse between one and the other, if you treat Ratchet & Clank 1 like a proof of concept, and then you treat Ratchet & Clank 2 as the expansion of that concept, the base game experience is the same as the rest of the, we'll use the word to compare only because it's the relevant word, slop, that would have existed on our consoles now, that is an elevated piece of material that, regardless of your opinion of it, earned its place in the Gaming Platinum Classics. That otherwise considered to now would be considered a game undeserving of praise, only because it's been done 50 billion different times before. And while some art be differently,
This receiver bot can hypnotize other robots. To hypnotize another robot, aim, then press circle.
why did it say
This
that the
receiver
blaster bot?
can hypnotize other robots. To
I don't know.
hypnotize another robot, aim, then press circle.
It's like it's showing me a different version of what was supposed to be showing me at the first time in that other section. Anyways, with my sentence. They are comparative to games that would have been the innovators to become the industry standard that then becomes the definitional standard of what is the base minimum requirement a person has to do to be considered not slop, but still remaining slop anyways. It's doing the camera thing again! So, for every Jak and Daxter, and Spyro, and Crash Bandicoot, there are the entries of their kind that are responsible for then becoming the industry standard that's used to justify slop. So, Breath of the Wild, to use a modern example, becomes the sandbox survival basis of every game's comparison. Between being considered, look at that! I'm shooting the equivalent of a giant mine at you. Please blow up. Would be used as the basis for every sandbox survival game that wants to use a glider, as being the same type of slop, breath-alike glider game. as is Minecraft and Terraria, compared to the 2D and 3D or 2.5 like sandbox survival experience. And where games unfortunate. And where for games like V Rising and Avowed and RuneScape Dragon Wilds are used as the comparison to show what the current affair of the field is. All of the original mascot platformers end up being backboard, for which all opinions flow. But this was from a time period where they were liked. So if they were from a time period where they were disliked, see, they're extra bodies. I accidentally destroyed an extra life. They would be used in the context where they would start blaming them as for what's responsible for the games being bad, and not the understanding of what they were trying to design for, moving towards the future. So in this way, Ratchet & Clank 2, for all of its gags and all of its humor, tries to do something differently that Naughty Dog has since abandoned. It has all the design quirks that you'd expect of a game at this time, and it is good for that. I'm still equipped with the pneumatic. Hello? You had explosions pop on you? There you go. It is good for its design and at the time that it came from. And it is the textbook of which all game design should look at for inspiration. Because it's not like it was a direct refinement, and therefore there are people who define this as the best platforming can ever be. And when you ask them about the Yetis, you're like, what do you mean about the Yetis? The Yetis are perfection. And they try to give up some bullshit about how the game should be difficult just to frustrate the shit out of you. Because they feel that if the game does not challenge them with some unoperant fucking nonsense, that it's not a real game. There are definitely puzzles in it that I hate. We are starting to use less and less weapons here. We'll find a place to use the spider gun. Or we won't. There are definitely puzzles that I hate. That is not the Dynamo Carl. Oh, good. I don't even get to hone. And I'm jumping onto a moving target, which means I fall to my death. I learned that the last time I tried doing that on a moving target. Ignoring that example of just bad gameplay notwithstanding. It is a video game that has earned its right to be considered a legendary great. It is also a frustrating piece of history where you feel like you want to give it its due diligence. If you're reminded of the reason why the game is considered a legendary great, is because of the company that came from, and how they tried to innovate after they designed this greatness, and not the continued deliverance that they were supposed to be known for the rest of their products. I'm going to run through these sections now. And that's actually to a testament of, like, the greater problem that you could say that the game suffers from. It was by no means a slog, as it was for the first game. Mainly because once you had your hands on the Tesla coil, your ability to deal with problems increases, not decreases. But the biggest enemy of the player is the ability to look up. It is the ability to look up and the ability to have something that auto-aims for you. There are more situations that are created by lock-on than there are situations created by bad puzzles. I don't fall to my death that time. There are definitely more situations that are caused by bad auto-aim than they are bad puzzles. And yet, in this action platformer, where I should be putting more focus on... Oh, it's a bad bounce. But I should be putting more weight on the gameplay experience. More of the focus for Ratchet & Clank is on the writing and the more topical jokes. First to the contemporaries in the field, and then I believe with Up Your Arsenal is when they started making jokes centered on pop figures. I forget what the name of the pop star character is, but I know it's based on Britney Spears. At times, it can be very, very, very much padded. Whether it be because of the amount of ammunition you need to kill an enemy, or how slow fighting a boss is. But it is a title that helps you appreciate the roots of what gaming was. Uh-oh. What do you mean, uh-oh? Something happening to my feed? I keep doing it. Oh, it does that. The virtual machine sometimes will lag, just like a normal PS2's internal memory does. Certainly there's nothing in this room full of ice and it's just a jump puzzle. to destroy them. That should not take more than 5 rockets. And that should probably not take 7 rockets. You could say that the back half of the game on the last planet probably struggles from the same problems that the back half of Ratchet & Clank 1 suffers from, which is an overdependence that the player has adapted to using one of the better or more consistent weapons. If only because the game puts so much emphasis on bolts that you don't have enough. And it relies a lot more on beefgate enemies than engaging mechanics. So I, for one, am not happy with what I'm currently experiencing as I'm talking. Like, for example. Now, given that it's a product for its time, that's death. Because the bolt's on the rail. This is on the rail. I can only judge it as a piece of material for the product that it is at the point of time, because that is what the product is. I cannot prejudge them at all anymore for their work, as I can for the consequences that we've learned since to have player characters. Like the game, for example, quote, respecting my time. Why am I at the beginning of this section when that section I was just at looked like it was the beginning of another section? Why do you have flying enemies over a section that's going to take some level of acrobatics, even if it could be expected that at this part of the game I have adopted to using the type of protection and weaponry that will render me at minimum damage immune? Why are you making me do swing shot segments? And worse, why am I replaying this rocket section here, when there should have been a continuing point the second I arrived at that section for that next puzzle to open up for the next exploration segment? It still has the problems that the industry had at the time with respecting of your time by having checkpoints and save states. Now, if I wanted to, since the option is available to me by the nature of how I'm choosing to play this video game, I could skip the steps and simply use a save state for sake of argument. And even if it saves the state of the electrolyzer, why am I redoing this section again? There should be a checkpoint right here. Right here, on this point. But there isn't. While a modern game would be boring as hell, how is it that that was not something discussed when designing this back half section? No matter where the game would have been in development, the front part of a game and the back half of the game should be the most developed parts. You do have a point there, Anquaris. This is not like Jak 2 with the likelihood of death is higher. And I can say as somebody who never properly played Jak 2 until I emulated the video game on account of money and time, And my mother just didn't find Jack 2. She gave me Jack 1, and then I was given a copy of Jack 3. Because it was on sale. Jack 3, which is supposed to be Jack 2 but better, has nowhere near its level of problems. Nowhere near these level of problems. And yes, Jack 2 was definitely unfair at times. Well, see, I find the races to be fucking boring as shit. Personally.
This is it, the Protopet duplication room.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had some trouble with the guards.
No problem. You're just in time. Okay, let's see if this thing works.
She is trying to tell us something.
Bye now. Enjoy the Hygienator. Remember, you bought it from Steve. Steve McQuark. Indeed. Now that I've sold my 1 millionth Hygienator, I can finance the comeback of the greatest superhero who ever lived, Captain Quark! All I need now is a new galaxy with a new fan base, so I can rescue them from a new disaster!
And he sniped her.
I do not understand.
Mr. Fizzwidget?
This is bad.
All right, just what the is going on?
I'm out.
Allow me to explain. I'm about to save the galaxy from the Protopets, and you are about to become public enemy #1. Oh, and 2 and 3. Guards, seize them! Smile, it's showtime!
You have guns. Why did you let this happen?
I come to you in this, your darkest of hours, to shine the flashlight of justice on your galaxy.
Flashlight of justice? Oh.
As you know, a living menace called the Protopet has been set loose in your galaxy. But fear not, Bogonites. I, Captain Quark, have caught the perpetrators. Yes, good citizens, these are the masterminds behind Megacorp's experiment with death. And now, with this, super electro gadget I invented, I will end the Protopet threat once and for all.
That's my Elixamorph. I invented.
Ahem. Stay tuned, dear viewers, as I amplify the signal from this helixo thingy and render every Protopet in the galaxy completely harmless. Allow me to demonstrate. Mommy!
Does that Helixamorph actually work?
It used to. I could probably fix it.
Come on, Clank. Let's get it back.
What a cutscene. Equal rights and less Sarangela, indeed. Exit the lab. Return to ship. Since the bolt is back here, there's supposed to probably be a section I should have grind railed off of. Up to my death. At least it puts you back there. Let's see if I can backtrack this and find a way to that grind rail. So, yeah, why is there a save state point for that there? Amount. Well, that's not happening. Why is there a save state point for that there? But there wasn't for any of that section leading up to it. And then, why shut that entire section off once I stepped in here and put this for returning to the ship? And then, why have all of this extra shit here effectively just be teleporters? It's direct ship again. It's direct ship again with extra steps. Well, actually, no, less steps. You had to go through 4 teleporters, several different Magna Rail sections, and other pieces of garbage that took you from there to there to there to there to there. At least here, it's an entire planet and it's a final section. And yet, the final bolt in Ratchet & Clank 1 is less annoying compared to Ratchet & Clank 2. Which put more tedium between me and the goal. Mind you, the amount of effort that it took to do that puzzle was, I guess, less annoying than this current one. Of the gadgets you use in this game, the swing shot gets a lot of use, the dynamo gets a lot of use. The Denominator is effectively a blink and you'll miss it reference. The Hypnomatic only exists for the back end, and the Tractor Beam was there in the beginning, then got underused. The Helipack and Thruster Pack is pretty much a flavor of which type do you want to have for the rest of the game. And in terms of footwear, once you have the grind boots, since they're only used in single sections, it's like any other boot choice that would exist in any video game where you have alternate designs. So, not like Ocarina of Time. And then, gravity boots and charge boots. In any place where I should have gravity boots, it's only for magnetizing. So you're always wearing the charge boots. Or specifically the grind boots, so that you don't accidentally throw yourself off a ledge. Then in terms of weapons, Spider Glove Bot is probably the one weapon in this game, outside the ones that I don't already have equipped, or upgraded, or selected, from the returning ones they've used here, that it just doesn't get used, except in maybe a few choice places for ambushing enemies on a planet. The Shield Charger comes way too late in the game. The Heavy Lancer is a workhorse until it stops being a workhorse, on account of the fact that you have a bad aim mechanic. The Mini Nuke is always useful, but it has a capacity of 8. The Multi-Star can't be used while strafing. Until you have more bullets, the auto-homing of what is now the H2K is really shit. Then once you have the ability to shoot out 3 bullets instead of 1 bullet, it becomes a replacement for the Heavy Lancer, only in the capacity of this is for rate of fire and damage over time, whereas this is I can aim at you without aiming at you. This is a joke. Probably even more of a joke than the Spider-Bot glove. But the only reason that the Vaporizer is leveled is that it gained experience very quickly. For the amount of experience that the Spider-Bot glove has, what the fuck do you expect this glove to do that it does not have its upgrade yet already? The Megaturret glove solves the same problem that the H2K glove does, but it does so while being able to strafe, place, set, and forget. The Blitz Cannon is just a shotgun. The Meteor Gun does the same mechanical job of the Sheeprinator, as it was when it was the Chickinator. But it does the job that it's supposed to do for crowd control, and nothing else. The Heavy Bouncer exists to give you the ability to shoot damage in some way where it will automatically start tracking the enemy, but it will not help you with aerial enemies. And then, the generic workhorse for aiming at a target in the distance that you want immediately removed. This is a spiritual successor of the Devastator. Outside of certain situations, we did not use the Visibomb. We tried the Walloper on the planet that we received it on. It was probably okay at that time. Definitely gets outscaled now. The Bomb Glove is only relevant in the case that you ran out of ammunition of other weapons that you're using in endurance challenges. We have never touched the Decoy Glove. And the Tesla Claw is a workhorse only in the capacity that, until you've received the meteor gun, you used the Tesla Claw. And then, once the meteor gun was upgraded from the lava gun it started as, and you received the Black Sheepinator, in any place where you would use the Tesla Claw for crowd control at a distance, you could probably use the Black Sheepinator if the enemy does not have a stagger state that renders it immune from the effects of the gun. The weapons, while new but same, they are same but different. But they then end up winding right back to different but the same. Some weapons arbitrarily do a minimal amount of damage, and that is not good when you're looking for the power fantasy of, I'm trying to kill you, why are you not dying faster? Some enemies, depending on how you engage them, are so not worth your time that right now I am skipping an entire section because since I'm on a rotating platform, they're having trouble aiming at me. And while funny, it's not a funny haha funny. It's a damn, that's really bad funny. Like, wow, I can't believe it's really that shit. You have to do it every time. Then, unless this has the, okay, shot's not there, got it. Then, in lieu of this complex section you have here, I can figure out where the fuck I'm supposed to go to use it. You've got an elaborate ending part where in a different video game, you wanted me to explore the ship and figure out how to do my part and my job. Whereas here, this section feels like a very complete afterthought. Where being able to do this objective was hidden behind a blink and you'll miss it, or don't pay attention close enough and you'll miss it, tractor beam section. And then, that's not even to speak about the nanotech, specifically on HP. You went way too far with doing upgrades to the HP pool. You had the premium nanotech upgrade, and then you had the health upgrade. You started with 3 dots, then you got an extra 4. Then you probably get an additional 5. I can't remember exactly. So you changed to a pseudo RPG system where the experience is ground. So, as a player is playing, they start with 3 or 4, and then they gain extra sections, where one section of HP represents 4 hits, or the equivalent to 1 damage of 4 hits. So comparing this to Legend of Zelda, you end up with a game design that encourages you to fight enemies. And you should, because fighting enemies is fun. Using your guns that you prefer is fun. Leveling up your guns that you prefer is fun. But it ends up being not fun, because that means you have to replay extra content to get them. So what do they choose to do as a bent for this? The arenas. And like I said when we got to the first arena section, this is quintessential Ratchet and Clank. If Jak and Daxter is all about exploring in a giant overworld and exploring for little nooks and crannies for secrets, Ratchet and Clank is, I have a gun that transforms into a giant ball that then explodes into little tiny balls. And those little tiny balls that look like they're cancer cells blow you the fuck up. I'm gonna throw 5,000 of these things in your general direction. That should be Ratchet and Clank. And then poop jokes, shitpost jokes, topical jokes by the people who are fans of the games that are compared to their contemporaries, so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. But unfortunately, what we end up getting is a grind circus. And then, look at this. This is the puzzle section that you put in place for us to find the Platinum Bolt. A fucking ring around the rosy. For all of the other places and all the other techniques and strategies that were included in the first game, including, what was it, Hoxen? I think it was Hoxen. The Poison Planet. You make the most annoying part of the video game, which was exploration, and then finding every damn thing with that exploration. You make this part of the game. I didn't mean to press that. I thought it was the way to teleport into the arena. I'm dumb. Or oxen. Thank you. For all the fucked up ways that you could have hidden these fucking bolts from me, so that I had to just find and collect all these bolts. It's in the inventory screen. All these fucking bolts. You have seemingly increased the number of bolts by about 1.4 times the original number. Because I believe the original number of golden bolts was 25. And this is now, what, 32? You've increased the golden bolt count by like an additional 5 to 7 to 8. But at least the minimum of 2 of these golden bolts are based on me flying through rings like Superman 64. Some of them probably come from challenges on the rest of the minigames. So between exploring the continent and the map, collecting side crystals for planets that have sections that are just copy pastas of each other, because crystals are not content that's busy work, which is my same opinion that I have about moonstones also being busy work, and raritanium outside of the flight sections being also busy work, but inside the flight sections being a grindable currency that has a blink and you'll miss it minigame that is equivalent to a redux and a rehashing and a re-incentivization of the pilot flight sections, of which in the original game there was only 3 to 4, including the final section that was necessary for progression. In these sections, it's just a one-and-done mission objective beginning, with some variances. First, fighting flyers when you have no upgrades on your ship, and it feeling balls hard, because it was balls hard. Then you get the ability to spend that damn raritanium that you're building up, and then you have the ability to fly, to go get it customized, and that's a night and day difference between that gameplay experience with the ships. Not accounting for revisiting planets, and finding the platinum bolts that are hidden. Then, when you get your mapper, and you start revisiting those planets with those selections, and whatever the fuck is supposed to be in this position, between the levitator, and the hydro pack, and the infiltrator, and the electrolyzer, and the glider, you've got people re-exploring the worlds, feeling bored, because now they're just knocking out the planets for busy work. So because I can go through each of them, there's lag. Because I can go through each of them, of the ones where there's an actual map to explore, you've got all these extra sections that players are going to go through, because you've given them a giant thing that says, hey, you see this green section? This is a secret. And assuming that they didn't find it themselves on first playthrough, you expect people to go through this and say, yes, I think about this wisely. I appreciate what the game did here. And they're not going to look back at it as just busy work that was taking advantage of all that extra space and all that extra time. Yeah, I would have never found that section inside the laboratory there. You have them going through all this extra stuff in this extra space. Actually, no, it's not even the lab section. This is the lab section. this was the jumping platform section. You have them going through these planets, looking for these very minuscule look-throughs. And you're expecting them to come away from these experiences positively. Even if we choose to turn a blind eye to any section that was really, really dumb, and I mean dumb, levitator sections, glider sections, giant clank sections, although the giant clank boss fights were not that difficult the first 2 times. It's the third one with the mothership where it's an extremely hard difficulty spike. Outside of the challenges that you get from the arena themselves, which are optional, you don't gotta do them, unless you do, for a platinum bolt. You expect people to go through all these planets and do all these extra steps. And you think it's not going to be looked at as a, oh yeah, it was really important for us to put this one secret section right here in the wastes. Kind of like how they put the platinum bolt all the way out in the distance in the desert, on the desert planet, in the wastes. I'm not going to say 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm going to say they were still ironing out the kinks. And because of that, is being looked at conservatively in a way, where if I appreciate the amounts of games that I choose to play my time with, I would feel like the game is missing something. Like, I'm not going to say something mean and rude and be like, the game's missing fun. But clearly, the game is missing something. It is missing a specific je ne sais quoi that keeps me invested. Now, when I say keeps me invested, I mean keeps me wanting to do that exploration. Because remember what I said back on the other planet. I, personally, would not want to go through and collect all those fucking crystals. Because I don't want to go through and collect all those fucking crystals. You can't make me! But at the least... That's lag. And why is that worth half my health being squished? With all of the extra work, damn. With all of the extra work, some which I would say is busy work, you ate my ammunition, bitch. With all the extra work that the game adds. Virtual engine slowdown. When I asked the question if Ratchet & Clank 2 is respectful of my time, I can't really come away from that question and say yeah, but considering I'm me, I play the game fast.
It's okay. This is the real Mr. Fizzwidget. Quark had him tied up in a supply closet all this time.
Gentlemen, you have my most profound gratitude.
It was nothing, sir. I'm just sorry we couldn't get the Helixomorph back. Right. What do you suppose is wrong with it?
I don't know. It could take months of research and...
The battery isn't backwards.
Oops.
Imbecilic to the very last.
just have to amplify the device with Megacorp's TV transponders, and that should cure the other protopets.
Clank? Uh-oh. It's okay. I can fix her. I promise.
I like how they just ignored that Quark is an actual fucking dangerous criminal because he's that fucking useless of a goddamn enemy. And then he got put into space jail and we never heard from him again. But yeah, when I asked the question of myself, does Insomniac Games circa 2003, respecting my time with the entry of Ratchet and Clank, should I get from beginning to end and play it and compare it to the Ratchet and Clank 1 experience? There's clearly more here that is meant to be replayable. Because at the very minimum, these titles were meant to be replayed. Whether or not you had fun replaying them is outside of the question field for just whether or not it's respectful with your time and it's worth a sit down in a single playthrough. Or subsequent playthroughs. The answer is yes. On a first playthrough, yes, but you're going to be annoyed by the sections that are frustrating. To the point that they become running jokes. So, all in all, it's like, if for nostalgia purposes you gave Ratchet & Clank a 10 out of 10, you would have to give Ratchet & Clank 2 a 7.5.
So, what do you like to do for fun? Oh, my goodness.
So, whatever happened to Quark?
I heard he was working at Megacorp.
So, you fellas new here? You boys should sign up for the new Probomatic. That little baby cleans you something fierce. I just got done testing the full body waxinator. I am personally sporting a smooth chassis, and there are no tags on my luggage. All right then. Catch you later.
Subject 23A. Please report immediately for
Sheer free.
quantizer testing.
Well, duty calls.
He's literally a certified rat, like lab rat. Yeah, you would have to give it a 7.5. On the places where they deserve a 10 out of 10 on what they improved on, they deserve to have applauds for what they improved on. So, strafing, better. General aiming in certain parts of the level, better. Camera controls, still bad. They should not have converted camera controls on any of the mechanics. You would have hoped that that would have gone away from Ratchet & Clank 1, but it did not. So the question you have to ask is, did these game test analysts do their fucking job? Every single one of you are responsible for my gameplay experience. I am not happy! But that comes with the caveat of having hindsight, right? So, if little Carl were to have complained about it back then, he probably would have been upset about the Yetis on the ice planet, and he would have been upset about the camera controls, and he would have been upset about areas with really bad checkpoint designs that would have made you sit down and be fucking mad as hell. I find it funny that Katsushi only voiced one singular character, and he had everybody pulling at least double duty twice. Hey look, Steve Bloom's in this game. But yeah, to save... to save extra words. It requires a lot of good faith to give it a fair judgment and not treat it like dog shit. Because since these games were considered the beginning of the movie game, because they had to actually make a game around the voice performances that they were designing the characters for, it was, and is, worth the time, and was worth...
All right, fellas, nice and tight now.
Oh, right.
You tested this, right? Oh, wait, that's why I'm here. Oh, one more thing.
I don't know why that makes. I don't know why that's so fucking funny. Anyways, the amount of credits and the amount of praise you could throw at the game, it really depends on how badly you want to judge it or how good you want to judge it. You know, like I would play this a lot more than I'd play Ratchet and Clank 1. Because I remember that I did play for the gold bolts, but you know, you put any video game in front of a kid from the era of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and shit. If they had, what was it called? EverQuest? Hold on. It's here inside of my things. First, let me save.
Welcome back to the house.
Yum. Yum. Yum.
Ratchet reporting.
First person mode. Random stuff. Shortcuts. Skill points. And yeah. So, going off of the ones that I have here inside of the game state, shutting down the virtual machine. If you had put something like God Hand, Reach into Memories, Odin Spear, Beautiful Joe, where's that one game? It's one specific one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I don't see it here in my personal collection. Which is weird because it should be here. My brain wanted to say EverQuest, but it's something else entirely. PS2 title ever. Ever. What is it called? Evergrace. Thank you. From Software Game. Okay, if you put something in front of a kid like Evergrace, they would play the fuck out of Evergrace. Despite how frustrating Evergrace is. So, in terms of the Ratchet and Clank series, just between the gameplay of 1 to 2, and then the idea of replaying 1 and replaying 2, for challenge mode, there is a lot more quality and there's a lot more content, and therefore there's a lot more interesting game loops that you can engage in that will keep you entertained. Never at all putting the exacerbation of annoyance on your shoulder. So, for me, for what I got interested in, it was replaying sections of Kingdom Hearts, it was replaying the arena in Olympus, and it was beating the shit out of Sephiroth until I was happy with how I was punishing him. And then replaying the parts of Final Fantasy X that were fun, and Blitzball. There's no Blitzball in Ratchet and Clank 2. By that I mean, there is no particular activity that you could just spend your time doing non-stop, with the exception of the arena. But what I mean by that is, there are elements of the gameplay that, by its nature, is meant to be one and done. But there's nothing that makes you revisit it. It's a part of a franchise that if you revisit playing the franchise, you will be playing incidentally by the nature of having played it. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? That's kind of like the experience that I'm coming away from it with. By all means, you end up speedrunning the game more than likely. In fact, do you keep your stuff? I think you do. I believe you should keep your items. You keep your guns, but I don't think you keep your quest material. Game, let me pause. Let me go through the menu. Thank you. Considering that this is a beginning section of the game, I really don't think you should have a transitional cutscene for getting to this planet. But no, you do not. The only one that you keep is the charge roots. So, the benefit that usually comes with playing the game over again with everything available to you is removed from you in terms of the key items, which is fine, right? Because that should mean of the weapons that you do keep, you keep the weapons that you already have access to in the situation. So, on the second time playing through the game, all of the issues that would have been a problem of you not having the particular tool, the particular weapon, or the particular technique to deal with that enemy at that time is no longer a relevant problem. So, it becomes a case of, haha, what was it about this gameplay loop that made me so angry? But when you really think of it with a critical eye, on first game playthrough, it's kind of like playing through the original Medieval. Where from Medieval 1 to Medieval 2, and then to the remake of Medieval 1, compared against the old game ROM of Medieval 1 that would be on that same game disc when it was repackaged for what? Was it the PlayStation 3? PlayStation 4? It's the same comparison that you would end up making. You would look at the shit that is bad, so you remade it so that you can make it better, and then you'd compare it to the old game and all of the other quirks that it had, and you'd walk away thinking, that was a bad game design, so we fixed it. Because we could be able to show people how good our design was by putting that comparison on the same fucking disc. Which, that's a hard question to put together, because we have that answer for Ratchet & Clank 1, but we don't have that answer for Ratchet & Clank 2, right? So, let's say somebody decides to repackage the Ratchet & Clank collection of 1 through 4. They'll probably only do 1 through 3, because Ratchet Deadlocked was supposed to be a spin-off of separating the heroes, and even though Clank does show up in the title, it was supposed to be all on the shoulders of Ratchet as the main character. They take the quintessential quadrilogy or trilogy, and they remake the games completely. If they end up remaking the games, do they design away the problems that they clearly saw as an evidentiary issue to the point that it became a running joke like the Yetis? Or the running joke of the glider sections? That's the reason I come away with that idea. That's why I come away with that description, and why I come away with that feeling. You get to experience the feeling of having played a piece of greatness, but it comes at the consequence that you don't truly understand what the older generation actually went through. Right? This is just the Radon problem. It's just the Radon problem. And that's sad. Now, we're at 5 o'clock, so I need to go prepare her dinner. Fortunately, it's already cooked. I just need to prepare it and serve it to her. And I will be right back. I think I will get started on Ratchet & Clank 3. And then I will play Expedition 33 tomorrow. Because alternatively, I can continue from here with Expedition 33 once I turn the stream back on and off again. And then I continue tomorrow with Ratchet & Clank 3 on Tuesday. Those are the options. But yeah, however which way I do it, or if I return it all anyways, I will end up working on more of them because I want to get through all of them. I can faintly remember that Ratchet Deadlocked is a lot shorter in terms of the actual content that's in it, but my mind is completely drawing a blank on Up Your Arsenal. The only thing that I do remember is the Britney Spears parody. That's the only thing that's in my brain. Ew! At least I didn't tear my fucking hair out, like with South at Midnight. Because the one thing that is very clear that I didn't cover, with my opinion, they start to become a lot more inventive with the sections and with the ideas they start coming up with a lot of the tools and gadgets. You can see that they evolve from just having a swing shot at every single opportunity to trying to use different gadgets to vary the puzzles. But they just didn't. They didn't click all the time. So, I'm going to go do that thing. Whether I return today or tomorrow, I will see you all when I see you all. Goodbye, everybody.